What I'm also not here for is all of the pundits and all of the news people being like, progressives cave. No, that's where I want to be like, do the math. I mean, at a certain point, I applaud. They have worked so hard. And the truth is, if they do pass a $1.5 trillion bill here, it is a victory. Like, it is a victory. It is.
Okay. Alyssa, I have a confession for you.
Okay. Are you about to tell me you're pregnant?
It does. I do look like a snake that ate like a dinosaur egg.
You unhinged a jaw and had a possum today for sure.
I told my college girlfriends that I pythoned a watermelon. I look like I'm very, very I'm 39 weeks plus right now. I'm just about at my due date, and yeah, it's a journey. I'm at the point where it's just I finally got to the point where it's hard for me to put shoes on.
Okay. Well, that's good. I mean, just at the very end.
Yeah. It's just at the very end, but still I'm like, oh yeah, this sucks. I don't want to continue to be in this physical state. It's not the most fun, but I haven't decided if it would be less fun to be in this physical state than it would be to be wiping poop off a tiny baby butt every 2 hours. And, feeding it and all that stuff. So I don't know. I'll have to report back once I have a newborn what is more annoying, very late pregnancy or having a newborn baby that I have to keep alive, and I will go to jail if I don't. Okay. So I was getting annoyed today about non-physical pregnancy things. And that was when I was preparing for the show. I was trying to get the latest on the Democrats' Build Back Better agenda. And my brain, Alyssa, noped out. You ever get that where your brain is like, nope, I cannot fucking deal with this. This is among the most annoyed I have ever been with politics. And that includes during the Trump administration. So can you please tell me, am I crazy? Am I being a wimp? Am I a snowflake?
No. Here's the thing, Erin. Hysteria needs to be a space for all feelings. And that includes being annoyed as fuck that... Let me just bring it back. I don't know when, because you came up with this, but we said it a lot. And I don't remember if it was during Trump or during 2020. I don't remember. But we were like, the Republicans are bitches who can't govern, and Democrats can sometimes be bitches who are afraid to govern.
Yes.
So like, come on, guys. I mean, look, fundamentally, look, I'm tired of expressing annoyance or outrage and people explaining to me the math. Like, I get the fucking math, okay? I get the math. You don't need to explain it to me. But it's like, does anybody, Erin, do you think that if the GOP had majorities in the House and Senate, or 50-50 split, whatever the fuck, plus a VP, that they'd be squandering the opportunity to bring about real change?
I mean, here's the thing. They did at one point have all three. And they did squander it, but that's because they didn't have any fucking plans. They were like,
right, exactly. Good point.
We're going to repeal and replace Obamacare. It turns out that was not true.
Turns out people kind of like Obamacare.
Yeah,
so.
They didn't really have any plans. But the Democrats did have a plan. Joe Biden won the presidency on a plan that was very progressive. And now Democrats are saying that they cannot possibly enact that plan because it's somehow a bridge too far on all of these supermajority issues. Something like, 80% of people support paid leave for all. 80%.
And Erin, we all know that almost every industrialized country in the world but us has it.
We all kind of understand that the American economy runs on the uncompensated labor of women, and especially women of color, especially low-income women. And there is one group of people who is like, hey, that labor is extremely valuable, and we need to preserve the sanity and well-being of the people who provide it by compensating them, either by giving them time off or by increasing their pay or by having any sort of social safety net for them instead of just expecting them to figure it out. But now it's like there's another side that's like, yeah, but we don't have to do that. We can extract more from these people without giving them anything in return.
The thing, as we have talked about for years, the thing that is the most sort of distressing is the fact that the paid leave has gone from 12 weeks to potentially 4. And yes, I hear everybody when they say 4 is better than 0. That's for sure. But at 4 weeks, and I say this as a woman who has never had a child, but I know a lot of ladies who have. And at 4 weeks, if you have had a C-section, you're barely supposed to be lifting anything.
You're not supposed to be driving. You're not supposed
to be driving, let alone my friends people who lived in townhouses had to move to the first floor so they didn't go up and down stairs for several weeks. So how on earth is like the benchmark of 4 weeks? Like, yeah, they're all good by then. We can send them back. I mean, I realize now that we're not letting people take any time. But if given the opportunity, I guess I just don't understand, of all the compromises that are to be made, why paid leave even has to be on the table,
Yeah, and it seems like Democrats are really shooting themselves in the dick, because who, for all of her faults, has tried to be a proponent of paid leave in her half-assed girl bossy way. When she was in the White House, Ivanka Trump did go around trying to get paid leave enacted. And I feel like, and this is just me kind of taking a step back and being the kind of bloodless political commentator that I hate, but politically it is such a stupid move for Democrats to not grab this opportunity to own such a popular initiative. Because in 2024, what if Trump comes back and he's like, I'm running on paid leave? What do we do then? Because Ivanka's still there. She's still in his ear. And Trump lies about everything to get whatever he wants. And he could easily lie about that. If the Democrats leave something this popular open for former President Trump to lie about in order to get himself reelected, he will fucking lie about it. It's just like, okay, another thing, the dropping of the climate priorities is, I'm going to say some stuff that is going to sound... No, I refuse to acknowledge that this is ageist, because it's just fucking true. We are watching a bunch of old people who will be dead before their homes are underwater, telling everybody else that nothing needs to be done to preserve the environment. And do you know how old the average signer of the Declaration of Independence was?
Like in their 20s, right?
44.
44. Oh.
Yeah, but that's like a wunderkind in this Senate. If you're 44 and you're a senator, you've got a bright political future. You're not an average age person. There are people who were literally in their 20s and 30s. There were teenagers who were involved in building the American experiment. And right now, I don't think they ever would have intended for this many people so removed from the long-term consequences of their decisions making decisions like this. This is un-American to me.
Well, especially when parts of California got rain for the first time in 200 days this week. New York and the East Coast is getting more rain than is imaginable, based on my experience growing up here. And everyone's like, no, it's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. It's not fucking fine. There are complete organizations built around saving oceans and fixing the air quality, and the Copenhagen 26 or whatever the fuck it is this week. And it's just... Erin, how can anyone look around or walk outside or be like, oh, it's totally fucking normal for it to be 80 degrees in October, and not think that we should pay some attention to the climate?
I mean, can we talk briefly, Alyssa, about the Maxinista of the Senate, Kyrsten Sinema?
Oh, please, let's.
You were expressing this to me the other day in a way that I thought was really succinct. And you said that you were more angry at her than you were at Joe Manchin.
Yeah,
and I would love to hear why you find her to be the bigger villain here.
So here's the thing. This is Joe Manchin. Nothing he's doing is surprising. I would almost say the fact that he's at 1.5 trillion is surprising and shows an open mind. This is who he is. He is a very moderate person. He is from West Virginia. It's not super shocking that the climate stuff is not a hot item for him.
It sort of is, though, because it's so short term for him to ignore climate stuff. But yes, point taken.
But Sinema has this had this progressive cloud around her as she was running. I mean, she was like a Nader Democrat. I mean, she campaigned as someone who was down with all of this shit. And the hard right left whatever turn she's made, is it's disappointing. It feels like fraud, right? It's like the opposite of Bernie Sanders. Like Bernie has been the same person for 40 some years, more than that. You can always sense where he will come down on an issue. She is like performative in all the ways. I mean, it's like why? It's like everything she does, it feels to me, in some way, shape, or form, is meant to get attention. And I mean, I guess anybody, like, you can be that way. That's her right. You know, it's fine. Good for her. But yeah, I think the reason I'm more angry at her is because I just expected so much more. I mean, I didn't think she was like a radical progressive, but she definitely campaigned as a more progressive person than she is being here right now. Because also the other thing is that these negotiations have been going on for weeks, months at this point. I don't know. I've lost track. But it also doesn't feel as if she's in this like negotiation to like really compromise, right? I mean, the whole point of a negotiation is that you know where you are. I mean, look, fucking watch House Hunters, okay? Like, you know where you are, you know where the seller is, you know, you usually try to meet somewhere in the middle. And it just feels like the thing that is frustrating is that, like, I guess because I think that Manchin is mostly being true to himself, I don't expect that much different. And I do actually think that based on where I think he would be left to his own devices, he is compromising. And I feel like she's just like waiting to get attention or wants people to come to her. I don't feel like there's good faith going on. But that's just one person's couch pundit opinion.
You don't need to qualify it. I feel really bad for all the people in Arizona who busted their ass to get her elected. She was elected in 2018, which was a tough year, and it ended up being an historically incredible year in terms of performance of Democrats, and that was in large part due to people on the ground in these places it was impossible for Democrats to win, who made the impossible happen. And Arizona was one of those places. And like, you know, it is cool that Kyrsten Sinema gave Martha McSally her first L of her two
Totally.
Ls.
Agree.
But, you know, it is so disappointing, and it feels disingenuous in a way that it would feel disingenuous if, like, I were suddenly to return from maternity leave and pretend to be, like, conservative to become a Fox News pundit. Like, I feel like there are people that put on a performative conservative transformation all the time because there's so much money in that space to just be insane. But like when it happens on our side, or when it feels opportunistic on the progressive side, I feel like personally cheated, and I also feel very bad for the voters of Arizona who really, I'm sure, wanted something different.
Well, also here's I think what I was trying to say earlier but couldn't get the words out of my mouth is that, could you imagine going to bed every night knowing that all of these priorities were literally in your hands? Right? And I think that it is part of, if this were a debate over abortion, okay, and she'd been raised hardcore Catholic and she just couldn't get there, that position I actually understand a little bit more than I understand what is going on right now. Because she hasn't staked out previously any positions that she's for. So it's curious or confusing why she's suddenly against these things. And I think that when people, you know, I'm not forever making fun of, you know, how someone comes across, right? But she just doesn't come across as someone, whether it's when she's walking the walkways of Reagan Airport and being questioned by a constituent, or whether she's walking through the halls of Congress or doing interviews. She does not, to me, put forward the persona of someone who understands how fucking deadly serious the responsibility she has taken upon herself is. And so to me, that is what I find really frustrating and really upsetting, because I think if it were either of us or anybody else, and we were like, oh my God, the fate of hundreds of millions of people is in my hands, I just don't think that I would, I don't know, be wearing a denim vest on the floor of the Senate. I mean, I don't know. I feel like she's not taking it serious.
We talk about male politicians who don't act like they're taking it seriously. Ted Cruz can't get a suit that fucking fits him for his life. Like Mo Brooks and his ridiculous ass windbreaker over his Kevlar vest on January 6th. Oh, sure you didn't know that was a planned insurrection. You dumb fuck. Like, do you think we are as stupid as everyone you've always surrounded yourself with, Mo? We are not. But, you know, I think that she seems like an unserious person, and that's not a sexist thing to point out. She does not act like a serious person, and this is deadly serious. And that's part of the reason that my brain noped out when I was thinking about this and thinking about all the things that are on the table. Climate, family leave, the Medicare improvements that would give people dental and vision care that Bernie Sanders has been pushing for so long. He was in the Midwest, like knocking skulls together all summer, trying to get people excited about this. And like now all of his work, all of the work of all of the progressives is about to go up in smoke because of this. And the thing that seems really gross to me is the sort of like ESPNification of the negotiations here. Like, this isn't a game. This isn't a sport. The people that are making the decisions are the ones that are the least affected by the decisions. It would be like, Alyssa, what if you came up to me and were like, oh, you know what? There's a wedding happening in Macedonia this weekend. You need to pick the color scheme. I'd be like, I don't know, fucking purple. You know, like it affects me zero. I have no concept of like how offensive the color purple is to a person attending the wedding. You know what I mean? I'm totally disconnected from the effects of that decision, and the people that are making these decisions are totally disconnected from them. Except Kyrsten Sinema has included as part of her, her backstory, the story of her being so impoverished that she had to live in a gas station without water. And it's like, okay, so that happened to you, but you don't care about doing anything to keep it from happening to other people. Is that what's happening? Because if that's what's happening, then like you're just a fucking asshole.
I mean, yes, that is, and the other thing to your ESPNification of the coverage of this is like, what I'm also not here for is all of the pundits and all of the news people being like, progressives cave. No, that's where I want to be like, do the math. I mean, at a certain point, I applaud. They have worked so hard. And the truth is, if they do pass a $1.5 trillion bill here, it is a victory. Like, it is a victory. It is. But it could be a bigger victory is all I'm saying. But that is not because they have not tried their level best to, bring to fruition all of the things that Democrats have been campaigning on for the last couple of years.
Yeah. And here's the thing. These things are super majority issues. These things that are on the table to be cut are super majority issues. Making the child tax credit permanent, super majority issue. Like allowing Medicare recipients to get dental and vision care included as part of their elder care. Pretty popular stuff. Paid leave, pretty popular stuff. I was thinking on the drive here today, just seething in California rage. I'm like, you know what? The Senate is so broken. Like, the Senate is so broken that I feel like we would have better luck just having every state pass it as a constitutional amendment than we would to get anything through the fucking Senate right now. Like, I think that we should get rid of the Senate. I love some people in the Senate, but it's such a broken institution. Get rid of it. Make it like a shelter for homeless cats.
Or you could just get rid of the filibuster.
That's true. But it'll come back.
It will. I'm just saying, you know me, I love a half measure. I start with the filibuster.
Okay. Well, can we at least like make the dome into some kind of cat play tower
Listen, that I'd be down with that.
Okay. That sounds like a good idea. I did want to close on one thing. Democrats have been sort of negotiating against themselves, which is nuts to me. And it sort of reminded me of when I was talking to my editor at the Daily Beast about maternity leave when I first told him. I was kind of like, do you ever do that thing where you're negotiating and you just ramble?
Totally.
Yeah. So I was like, well, I could work until this, and then I could do this, and then I could do this. And he interrupted me and was like, I'm going to stop you now. You're doing that like Elmer Fudd negotiating against yourself in a Bugs Bunny cartoon thing. Don't do that. Just ask for what you want instead of like talking yourself down. And I was like, God, Harry, you should give a talking to the Democrats in the Senate. I just wish they would stop Elmer Fudding themselves.
Agree.
Let's get to I Feel Petty. Mine is not petty, but it is something that I forgot to talk about during news, so I'm going to talk about it now. Pregnancy brain is a real thing, Megan. It's really fun. You just forget facts, but your empathy goes crazy because your amygdala is getting larger and your gray matter is shrinking. So there's going to be a period of time where you have to write shit down. Otherwise, you forget it, but you're really good at picking up on like foreshadowing clues in film.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Anyway, that's how I figured out the Squid Game in episode 4.
Okay.
So November 1st, the Supreme Court is going to be hearing arguments with the Biden administration against the state of Texas and SB 8, the abortion law that effectively makes abortion illegal after 6 weeks gestation. This is literally less than the bare minimum. What I anticipate the Supreme Court to be doing here is being poised to strike this down, because this law is literally insane. They are going to strike down SB 8, almost certainly. It is an insane law. A month later, they're going to be hearing arguments in Dobbs versus the Jackson Women's Health Association, which is a Mississippi challenge to Roe v. Wade that bans abortions after 15 weeks. Do not fall for the Supreme Court's sales pitch as moderates, because they're not fucking moderates. Striking down SB 8 is just like the least crazy thing to do. Like, nobody deserves any applause whatsoever for voting to strike down SB 8. They didn't opt to block SB 8 before they agreed to hear the challenge, so the law is in effect and it's impacting people's lives in Texas. They're not a serious organization when it comes to abortion rights. Don't give them any credit. And if you see anybody, any pundit, any like political observer talking about the Supreme Court's turn toward moderation, and I'm sure you're going to see a bunch of dumb fucking shit about it, don't buy it. That person is not a serious political analyst if they cannot see SB 8 in the context of what is coming, which is Dobbs versus Jackson, which is the challenge to Roe v. Wade that will likely overturn the 50-year-old precedent. So please, 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 I'm begging you, don't applaud the Supreme Court until they have sided in favor of upholding Roe, because otherwise fuck them. Like, otherwise completely fuck them. It's not petty. It's very serious. But you can I think you can listen to Supreme Court arguments. Is that correct, Alyssa?
Yeah. Yes.
You can listen to them. So definitely tune in if you're interested in it. I also would encourage people to tune in and listen just because I think more people should be exposed to the brilliance that is Sonia Sotomayor, especially during arguments. She's so awesome. And so listening to her argue will be a treat amid muck. So November 1st, abortion Supreme Court case. I'm really hoping that SB 8 gets struck down. But if it does, nobody deserves any credit whatsoever. That's what I feel petty about. Okay, Megan.
Okay. A hard agree.
Yeah.
Hard agree. Mine is a time when I was petty and I've realized the error of my ways. I used to think Dancing with the Stars was fluff and silly and why would anyone watch this? And I'm not fully watching it, but I have been so taken by this season. I got dragged in by Cody Rigsby. And now Jojo Siwa and Iman Shumpert are so incredible that it is like mind-boggling, the creativity. I cannot turn away from the dances that they are doing. Iman Shumpert got a perfect score. He's a former basketball player and he's gorgeous and fun, and he actually has a show on VH1 with his wife and 2 kids that I do like. Tiana Taylor is his wife, and he got a perfect score doing an Us-themed dance.
I saw that,
and it's so incredible. And Jojo Siwa is dancing with a female partner, and it seems like, I would say watch the clips because Tyra does seem, Tyra, but I was wrong to Dancing with the Stars, and I apologize.
Wow. Jojo Siwa dressed up like a
Pennywise.
Pennywise.
This is crazy.
That show could be so bonkers.
Yeah.
But like in a fun way. I feel like in the era of The Masked Singer, Dancing with the Stars is sort of restrained.
It seems normal now.
Yeah.
That there's avatars singing, whatever that show is. You're like,
Oh, yeah.
Pennywise is doing a rumba.
Alyssa, what are you feeling petty about this week?
So I'm not sure if any of you guys saw the article that there's a little internal upheaval at Facebook, but not over what you would think. It appears that their head of public policy and government affairs went to Brett Kavanaugh's swearing in and then hosted a party for him. When some people at Facebook found out about it, they were very, of course, angry. And they're like, you're basically saying that you support, that you are not taking the claims against him seriously and all this stuff. And Sheryl Sandberg, God bless, she can twist herself into a pretzel over anything. She's like, no, but it was personal. It was on his personal time. And it's like, he's the Supreme Court justice and he's the head of government affairs. That shit ain't personal. And I guess mostly I read this entire article and I was like, it is amazing to me that they will defend anything. You can just be silent. You can, but instead, or you could say, you know what, it was fucked up. Shouldn't have done it, blah, blah, blah. But I guess, I don't know, I'm just so sick of them. And this was just enough. Shut the fuck up. Stop talking. The scene in Sex and the City, my favorite scene with Carrie and Aiden, when she's like, you talk. Don't you ever just shut up? You and your Rogaine and your speed stick. But anyway, that's how I feel about all of Facebook.
It sort of reminds me of their responses to things that happen. And also, I get paid by Facebook to write I write about pregnancy and childbirth and stuff on Facebook Bulletin. But I also am free to say things about Facebook that happen in the news.
Yeah.
But sometimes when I see their PR arm, responding to criticism in news articles, it reminds me a little bit of how Chinese state TV responds to criticism of the Chinese government. It's like, oh, that was over the top. Oh, why did you, it just doesn't seem necessary and appropriate. And
you can just not say anything.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a fair thing to feel petty about. Tien,
well, the stakes are very high with what I feel petty about. So, no, I feel really petty. I know people really love it, but you guys, I really hate lip syncing videos. I think I cannot stand to see them. I know people really like seeing them on TikTok and Instagram, but I don't think it's a thing to just lip sync other people's things. Mm-hmm. I think drag queens should be the only people that are allowed to lip sync. If you're not in drag, sorry, you can't lip sync. I feel very strongly about this. I don't like the lip syncing. Stop with the lip syncing. Except for the one, I was sent one lip syncing video of a little 7-year-old. Little 7-year-old white boy, and I only say that because he was lip syncing my Hank Tina stand-up bit. Which is very specifically about my name being mispronounced, and he did it perfectly. That hit just him and drag queens. Okay. Those are the only people that are allowed to lip sync. Everyone else needs to stop.
But wait, Tien, have you seen the William White TikTok?
No.
Okay, so if you're a middle-aged white woman, let me just say that this kid who's a model and looks like Rob Lowe back in the 80s, he lip syncs to Barry Manilow and Benny Mardones. And everyone I know is have you seen him? So I agree, but he's also kind of acting because he's trying to be Rob Lowe. But anyway, check it out, William White.
I'll look at it, but you know what? I need
you
to
may
stand
not.
Strong.
Yeah,
you may not.
I don't know if the Rob Lowe's going to connect with Tien.
That's what I said. It made me see a middle-aged white women.
Different target demo. You know what I love on TikTok, though? This isn't lip syncing, but it's a cousin to lip syncing. It's when people take viral clips and they're playing on the bottom of a split screen, but they're talking along with the viral clip or harmonizing with it or singing with it at the same exact cadence. It's really... It's
I can't get behind any of it.
All right. Okay. So Tien is basically the Mussolini of hating fun. But that's all the time we have, guys.
Wait, Erin, it's actually not, though. We're not quite done. Because the girls and I, we are so excited for you and Josh, and we can't wait to meet the little one, that we've come up with a quick little segment we're calling Baby, You're a Scorpio.
Oh, guys.
I'm going to kick it off. Scorpios are strong, enigmatic, independent characters who crackle with an intensity and charisma that makes them unignorable. Megan?
You can bet there's something juicy going on under the wraps, though, because Scorpios like extremes, challenges, dangers, and darkness. Oh, wow, a Halloween baby. They are, because of their planetary ruler, Pluto, drawn to the outliers of human experience. If it's kinky, sorry, that'll be in a few years. Many years. Many years.
I support my baby's kink.
Okay. If it's kinky, risky, or thrilling, a Scorpio will be involved somehow. You're going to have a climber on your hands.
Yeah.
Okay, Scorpio is like the big, bad elder sibling of the water sign crew. You don't mess with the turbulent, deadly scorpion because their sting can be fatal.
Oh.
And they make the other signs of the zodiac, apart from maybe Aries, who they share a planetary influence with, don't know what I'm saying. And they make the other signs of the zodiac look like little weak bitches.
Wow.
Look at that. Little weak
That's
bitches.
good. That's fun. As a vain Leo with a detached Aquarius moon, I anticipate some tension between me and this child.
Again, gobbledygook to my brain.
Oh my gosh, it's almost like you don't live in California and this stuff doesn't permeate your brain.
Erin, Scorpions, they're relentless. Give a Scorpio a meaningful and positive purpose, and they could change the world. There's no stopping them. Self-doubt, recriminations, a lack of confidence, this is alien to them. They know what they want. So good luck with all of that, Erin. We're going to miss you.
Oh, man.
We're so excited.
We're so excited.
I'm going to come back looking like that doll from the Rugrats that's just got like
Yes.
tufts
Oh my
of
God,
hair.
Angelica.
That's how I'm going to come back. Postpartum hair loss with like tufts coming out, dealing with a child that is like
Cynthia. That doll Cynthia.
Yeah.
I think we should have a hair exchange. I'm getting so much hair right now that when yours starts to fall out, I'll give you some of mine.
and we can just pay it forward.
Absolutely.
That sounds
and then
great.
I'll need it from someone else in the Hysteria crew.
I don't know if that's the best idea.
Yes, it is.
It is a great idea.
Okay.
Well, guys, thank you so much. That was really, really terrifying. Megan and Tien, thank you so much for being on the show. My last one before. Alyssa, thank you for being my ride or die. I know you're going to do such a great job with the show when I'm gone.
Prayers.
And thanks to all you, the listeners. If you want to keep up with what I'm doing, I'm not going to be doing the show for a couple months, but I am going to be updating my my blog, which is at eringloriaryan.bulletin.com. Just that's where I put all of my feelings about pregnancy and childbirth, and I feel like the first few weeks are just going to consist of me typing etc. But if you want to catch up with me, I'm available there. I will be checking in on social media sporadically. But I'm so excited to see what the show does when I'm not here. I'm excited to become a mom and come back on the other side and tell you guys all not to do it.
Oh, no.